pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. To the February 4th Town Board meeting. Cooper.
Councilmember Bardini. Present. Councilmember Zaffino.
Present.
Councilmember Pristula.
Present.
Councilmember Rye.
Present.
Supervisor Alpert.
Here. I have no amendments to the agenda, so I'll present that as motion to accept it. All in favor?
Aye. Seconded.
Seconded by Greg. Next up, acceptance of minutes. Town Board regular meeting, January 21st. I'll present that as motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have any new employees today? Privilege of the floor for general town items. This is the opportunity to speak about anything regarding the town of Fishkill. Ms. LaGoy, you want to speak? Oh, I thought you put your thing down. All right. Next up is liaison member reports. We'll start with Mr. Pizzula. You got anything today?
I do not today.
Brian?
Not today.
Greg?
Just want to give a shout out to the men and women of our police department and the men and women of our highway department. We had a major winter storm event about a week and a half ago. It was handled professionally. It was handled promptly. I'm not aware of any major issues taking place outside of what can be expected when you get about 2 feet of snow in the space of 24 hours. So to Carmine, to the chief and our commissioner who are here this evening, thank you very much for leading your departments the way that you did, keeping our residents safe and getting Fishkill back on the move again. We very much appreciate that.
I second that.
And lastly, I did have the privilege a week ago tonight to represent the town board in the village. One of our detectives, Jason Betley, has for more than 26 years also been a police officer with the village Fishkill Police Department. And after more than a quarter century with that department, he achieved his retirement. Last week was his final tour, and it was great to join with some of our police cadets and his friends and family and so many of his colleagues from over the years, including Officer Cullen, to salute him for his walkout and to celebrate with him. So congratulations, Detective, on your retirement from the village. No, we are not interested in your retirement from the town of Fishkill at this time. We still need you, and so do our cadets. But thank you for everything you've done and continue to do for our community. That's all I have.
Councilman Bardini?
Yeah, not just a great job with the police department and the highway department. Received a message from the town assessor that there may be additional tax reductions for veterans. It was a new law that Hochul put forth. However, he doesn't think that anybody in the town is going to qualify for that. If anybody wants more information, please, send me an email through the town portal. We could discuss that.
Yeah, that is, as I understand it, it's a tax exemption for 100% disabled, 100% disabled veterans whose disability is related to their service. And I don't wish to take credit away from the governor, but the credit on that does belong to my former employer, the Senate Majority Leader, Andre Stewart Cousins, deserves credit for advancing that legislation.
And right now it's not mandatory for the town to do it, but we think next year that will change. But again, we're not sure that anybody qualifies for that right now.
If you
but
may,
it's good that it's there. So
if you may,
please let us
contact.
know if you want to discuss that. Also, I think it's Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday.
It is.
Everybody enjoy.
No, I won't.
Please don't go out driving and drinking and driving. Enjoy the party with your family and friends and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Yeah, it was very good. The Highway Department, Highway Superintendent Estevan, and there's a great crew of men cleared up the roads pretty good. And you can see the fruits of the town board's labor investing in the Highway Department to get them the proper equipment, proper benefits for the members of the department. And the result was a world-class operation that's second to none in the town of Fishkill. And not only is the communication important, as Ms. Bardini mentioned, we changed the law a few years ago where we got rid of the parking 24 hours a day in the wintertime, and the police officer were there getting people off the road, and we seen they got the system in place to accommodate everybody. Again, a big tip of the hat to the Highway Department. We might have to get some money for some salt, but we'll discuss that later. Yeah. So we'll move on. I know, right? Very expensive. Each of these times they go off for a regular plow run, it's about $40,000. So do the math. and then weekends is double time. So we got presentations, none, discussions, discussion to amend the rules of the town board. Anybody want to speak about that?
Well, you were busy bee on this thing. What inspired you to get in tweaking it? You tweaked it all over, which is fine. There's nothing.
Just to let you guys know going forward, you and me, our terms expire in less than 2 years, yours and mine. So I'm going to go through the rules and regulations, the town code one more time, and I'm going to see if there's anything else I can find. So if there's anything I can do, I want to review stuff that I have the opportunity to do now, and this is just one of them.
No, that's great. And I mean, I went all the way through it, and I thought it was very reasonable. There's no doubt about it. I didn't have any particular questions per se, so, but very thorough.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Sure.
It looks like you removed the privilege of the floor for non-agenda items toward the end of the meeting. Is that correct, or is there a place we can add that?
This is just a proposal, so just I want to hear your thoughts.
I kind of think that's important if people want to, they take time out of their days, maybe leave work early to come to a meeting. We should afford them the opportunity to, say what they have to say about how the job we're doing, or if there's something we're not addressing that we need to address. I think it's an important thing. If you want to move it into, the beginning with the, just have one general comment time for people, I can go with that too.
Okay.
But I think it's important.
Greg?
Yeah, I mean, my only comment, Supervisor, of course, I remember during your first term, the changes that were made to our meeting agendas at your direction to make it more open and transparent, to give residents greater opportunity to participate and to offer comment. And I think that's a great idea. If what you would like to do would be to rearrange where that comment is offered in the meeting, I'm certainly in favor of that. If you're looking to reduce the amount of time that residents are given to speak, or reduce the frequency from twice in the meeting to once in the meeting, I think we need to be very careful about how we do that. I think there is great value to hearing the residents' opinions after our discussion, but before we vote on resolutions. So if we were to remove one of the two privilege of the floor periods and consolidate it into a single privilege of the floor for agenda or non-agenda items, then I would propose that take place after the town board discussions and before the resolutions, so that any residents or anyone in attendance who has heard our discussion and could contribute something of value to us, before we deliberate and vote on those matters. So that would be a useful thing. Just my perspective.
Can I just, sorry, I just wanted to chime in with a question on that. Did you see something deleted? Because your 2021 rules, as they were, didn't have the second comment period that you're talking about. Like, it's not in there now.
Oh, it's not in the rules. I'm saying it's how.
It's how your agenda is. Yeah,
I
thought you were asking if it.
I don't know that that's necessarily.
Not you, but I think Councilwoman Bardini was thinking it was removed. I'm just saying it wasn't in there in the first place.
So, my apologies. So, I just followed our agenda. So when I added this to the agenda, I never added it to the rules and regulations?
Well, I'm saying your existing board rules from 2021 that were approved don't reference, they only have one public comment period listed.
Okay.
So that's the
so
order.
This wouldn't actually remove a public comment period. It's just that we currently offer two, and the rules only require us to offer one.
Right. If you wanted to put one in the rules, that's up to you. I'm just saying it wasn't stricken in this version.
If we're offering two already, and we're doing more than the rules require, I'm perfectly happy with that.
No. What Mr. Nugent said was, there's only one privilege of the floor right now. I put it on the agenda for two.
Right.
So if we're going to add the second, we should amend it to add the second one.
Then I would propose that we do that. Personally, I would propose that we do that.
And Jackie, you don't want no time limits? Is that what you said to me?
I did. I think as a board, we can and should control the meeting. I never liked when the previous supervisor had Becky Thompson on her phone timing people, with an alarm telling them they can't talk anymore. But as a board, if we see someone's repetitive and not making any points, just coming up for the sake of speaking, and not bringing a message or a grievance to the, to the board, That we should be able to say, excuse me, no, you've made your point, please allow other people to talk. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I do, I mean, because I've sat here and watched people repeat themselves for literally an hour.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating because I think it's self-indulgent. I think that people get frustrated at home watching and certainly here, that maybe they're leaving. So I think that we need to exercise some bit of our own flexibility and say, thank you, we've received your point.
Yeah.
And another one that I'd like to make, Ozzy, is that if we're going to have two points in the agenda where people can speak, we need to stick to that, because there are far too many times when people would just start debating from the back of the floor and then we're engaging them, and I think we need to have this stick to the rules and stick to the agenda and maintain that decorum.
So Brian, excuse me, Councilman Brazula, you have anything to add?
I kind of agree with some of the things Jackie was saying, that we want to give people the opportunity to speak. But on the other hand, we get a handful of people usually, but I could foresee a time that we get 100 people that want to come in and all want to say something about a topic. We might have to limit. We should have the ability to limit that conversation when we can see that it's going to be.
If I may, I think that for regular meetings and for privilege of the floor, that having a time limit may not be necessary, but I agree with both the Councilwoman and Councilman Rye that perhaps the board should do a better job, not of exercising authority, but of enforcing general policy, that if someone is at the podium and is either repeating themselves or engaging in comment which is not appropriate for the privilege of the floor, or during the course of the meeting when it is not privilege of the floor, if members of the audience are engaging and speaking, we should do a better job of cracking down on that.
I think I got a solution.
Regarding public hearings, though, which is when we are far more likely, I think, on the average, to see a larger number of people participating. For instance, if we had a major revision to our zoning laws like we had in 2021, we had a number of public hearings, and there were over a dozen speakers at each of those meetings. It might be sensible to impose a sensible time limit on those comments, because public hearing comments can, of course, also be submitted in writing. So if someone wanted to prepare a written statement, submit that in whole, and then read from it in part to satisfy a time limit, that would certainly not infringe upon their right to participate in that public hearing.
So Brian, everybody made some great comments tonight. Can we kind of rework what you did based on the agenda? I myself didn't know it was not in there for the second time speaking. It's very important for me, for the privilege of the floor for general town items, that there is no time limit. Because somebody can come in and say, listen, supervisor, there's a road about to collapse. It's going to take more than 2-3 minutes for them to explain it. So I want to give the leniency for that. I also would like to put in there that a board member will not respond to a citizen until it's their time for under liaison. We've got this liaison report and my supervisor comments. So they speak, the board members don't engage, they leave, and when we do, you speak, you speak, you speak, that'll be the opportunity for the board member to speak if they want to. You okay with that?
Well,
You see?
it depends upon,
This is what I'm saying.
it depends upon the engagement, but I'll do my best.
Yeah, if I can, I would suggest, first of all, I would always suggest, if you're asking me, there be some time limit. If you want to be gracious and give a lot of time, but I would never have no time limit. That presents all sorts of problems. You can't get involved in deciding somebody's repeating themselves or you think they're done. Then it gets into content-based restriction, which you cannot do. So I think you need some time limit if you want to be gracious and make it 10 minutes or whatever it's going to be. Typically, we recommend a longer comment period for public hearings, a longer time, because those are usually matters of greater importance and people want to be heard. And by the way, you're not silencing people. They can have their X number of minutes on public comment and still are free to submit written comments to the board if they want to expand on the issues, all right? But I just personally would never recommend any, and I don't know of any municipality, at least I've been involved with, that had no time limits. You're actually the only ones I know that do that. But it does present problems because theoretically somebody can say, well, I'm just going to talk for 2 hours. And how are you going to decide that that person's done?
A filibuster by audience.
Right. I mean, essentially what it allows. And,
Well, we could move the question and get a vote and vote out of it and move on.
No, because you're still then taking that person's content and deciding that you're done listening to what they have to say, and that runs into a First Amendment issue. So,
How about if we do this? How about if we have a time limit, but we can, during the course of their comments, just say, it's okay to continue? It's okay.
I'd like no time limit for the first one. The second one, I'll consider a time limit, because it's only about the agenda. If somebody walks in, like I said, they might have something with a school bus or something like that. I just don't know.
but I think if you do have something that's that lengthy, you can just put the person on the agenda as a, discussion item. If they have something of that importance, you could actually, then there is no time limit because you've made it an agenda item. But I really think public comment, even if you made it 20 minutes, whatever, just something, so there isn't, this open-ended, potentially talking as long as you
I
want.
understand open government, and we want people to talk, there's no doubt about that, but I think there's a good point being made here, and we have had discussions of sometimes when it gets like, are you kidding me?
The key here is citizens speak. I like it.
We all do.
The board meetings get to maybe 9, 10 o'clock, but there's other municipalities that surround us. Their meetings go to 11, 12 o'clock at night. And they're stricter with their rules. We move our agenda pretty quick. If you watch, we move pretty quick when we get on this. So the objective is more public participation.
The other possibility, Supervisor, if I can interrupt, is if you don't want to restrict the individual, you could restrict the overall comment period in the meeting. I mean, to Councilman Tatino's example, if you have 400 people, or 200 people.
Well, that was going to be my second question. Can the board on that night vote to lower the limit for that specific day?
You could, yeah. You could establish, as long as it's being applied equally, you could say that because of the number of people, or if you don't have a sign up, but if you did, we have a number of people, so we're going to limit the public comment to 3 minutes per person tonight,
So can we get that provision in there? So the majority of the town board wishes to set a time limit for a specific meeting, they can do so at that time?
Yeah.
Like you
How
said.
about a 2-hour time limit?
No. Listen, if there's 100 people for one thing and we know what they're going to talk about, that specific thing could be 3-4 minutes. It doesn't matter.
But you don't want to put any time limit on any person.
No.
How are we doing that if there's like, for instance, there was a sea of people here for the rent control vote, and everybody had a lot of things to say and a lot of different emotion. So how do you put that in place? When people
would
hear
vote.
they're emotional. I mean, what do you say?
We would vote before the.
Well,
Make a
yeah,
motion?
it's also difficult because you don't have a sign-up where the municipalities that use a sign-up sheet are able to say, we have 52 people signed up, we're going to allow 2 hours, and you kind of divide it up, and you say, everybody's going to have this amount of time. I get your point, it does potentially cut somebody short, but for the most part, if it's a sort of I'm opposed or I'm for, and they're going to make some comments, 3 to 5 minutes is not unreasonable. I mean, it works in many municipalities, and then some people will say, here's my written comment, I'd like to highlight, the main points. Anybody can get a copy of that, so there is that ability.
I think if there's something that's a hot topic and there's a large turnout, the town board would vote on it specifically to limit for that one item.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm not generally in favor of imposing a blanket limit on general public comment. Although that said, I do likewise, I do understand where you're coming from, Mr. Nugent, on the idea that if we don't do that, there would be nothing preventing someone, any member of the audience, from coming to the microphone during privilege of the floor, talking ad nauseum, and whenever the board decides that it has had enough, or that the comments are not germane to the town of Fishkill or relevant, that there would then be a First Amendment issue of us
Shutting them down, yeah.
Shutting them down. So I recognize that. If your guidance from a legal standpoint is that it is the best practice to institute a time limit.
I'm saying even if you said an hour per person, you'd have something, so there's some cutoff, where people, but,
As you say, an hour per person.
well, I'm not suggesting that's a good idea,
Don't
but
give anybody ideas, Brian.
compared to nothing, then yes.
Right, okay.
Otherwise, right now, it's eternity, they could get up there.
Well, this is definitely something to consider for us. Thank you.
So, Mr. Nugent, go through this agenda, make sure the agenda matches, like you said.
Match the current agenda.
Match the current agenda, because I didn't know the second thing wasn't in there, haven't read it in a while. Keep the first portion open, if the people can speak as long as they want. Add that provision where if the town board determines there's a large turnout and people want to speak about the same issue, make that determined by the town board. how long
And
they
on
can
the
speak.
second comment period, what are,
Second comment period, any suggestions on that? I'm a little, that second portion, since it's regarding the agenda, I'm negotiable on that.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion. one
10
way or
minutes?
The second comment is non-agenda.
No, the second
agenda
second
items.
comment is agenda items. The beginning privilege of the floor that we just had and no one spoke is for anything
Oh, I
related
thought
to
it's
the
the other way
town.
around. Okay.
And
My
then
bad.
we specifically moved the agenda item discussion in between discussions and resolutions, specifically so that if anyone in the audience
just leave it alone.
hears something
Okay.
during our discussions that they feel
Yeah.
would be of value
Just leave
to
it
us
alone.
before
I
we
think
vote.
honestly, I would, if you're not going to put a limit, I just would keep them both the same, because
Okay.
then you're kind of saying if you're here to speak on an agenda item, you're limited. But if you're not, you can talk as long as you want.
Yeah, just leave them both unlimited and just add that
I think that's
provision.
better than, if you're leaving one unlimited, I'd leave both unlimited, because then you're deciding if you're here to talk about our agenda, we're going to cut you off. But if you're just here in general to talk about something not on the agenda, you can speak all night. It seems kind of inconsistent.
That's a fair point.
I see, all right, my mind is a little different, but that's okay. Yeah, just leave it as is, and let the board decide if it's a large turnout that specific time, or public hearing, that we could do the three-minute or
Or
whatever.
break pillows, either way.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody good with that?
Yeah.
All right, so Cooper, we're going to have to take that out of consent.
Okay.
All right, when we get to it. Next up is resolution to amend the Town of Fishkill Handbook, Section 407, prohibiting recording of town employees and officials. Brian, I asked you to set this thing up. Can you give the board members in the audience a little idea what we did?
On the recording?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is basically just a policy that, employees and people within the town this applies to, and this is not for public situations like this, but if somebody's, for example, being interviewed by a supervisor, an employee on a disciplinary matter or any matter, that it would prohibit the employee or the official really from recording each other surreptitiously without telling. In other words, if they said, can I record this, the supervisor's free to say, yeah, and I'm going to record it too. But you can't record a supervisor without their consent.
So we're talking about an HR matter, or are we talking about a meeting and HR and
Anything.
everything else?
Really, any
What are we talking?
interaction amongst your employees or officials other
Right.
than public ones. If it's some type of meeting or committee, that's totally different. People can record this, obviously, it's being recorded.
Did anything prompt this, or just?
Just look at, like I said, I'm going through a whole bunch of stuff,
All right.
and whatever else I can fit in
No, I
here.
think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I'd just say it's not uncommon. There's like, especially in I do a lot of work with police departments, and many of them have that rule that,
Yeah.
if the sergeant calls you in, you're not allowed to record without disclosing it. And then again, if they both want to record, or the sergeant says, I don't care if you record it, that's fine. It's just that it's open and it's not being done without their knowledge.
Consent is first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not required in New York, so that's why you need the rule, because otherwise, under the law, you're free to record somebody you're having a conversation with in New York.
Any questions, Don?
Nope.
Makes sense.
Greg?
No, I think it's a good best practice.
Jack?
My question is, other than, of course, it's an illegal action, should we add something about this can result in termination?
I thought we had that in there.
What was the last part? I'm sorry.
That it could result in termination of your job. I didn't see that, I may have missed it.
I thought at the bottom it said district attorney.
Referred to the DA for
Yeah,
investigation
that's
or
what I say,
something, right?
refer to the DA,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, well, I mean, the truth is, any violation, I think, of your handbook because of your disciplinary or prohibited conduct provisions indicate, I believe, that we could check it, that if you're violating the rules, you're subject to discipline, always, up and including termination.
Oh, it is
I don't know
good.
that we would say
Okay.
it specifically just for this one, that, usually we say up to termination,
up
because
to and including.
the person has a stellar record for 18 years and then they get caught recording, you're probably
Yeah.
not going to get a termination in that case.
Exactly.
One other thing, just this is semantics, I think. First of all, after section 2, the first paragraph, there's a bullet there, or period, is that intentional?
It might be consistent with the handbook. I have to look at that specifically. We
And
might
then-
have just, you know why? Because we were adding this, I believe, to
Okay.
prohibited conduct, and the way they are in your handbook now, they're bulleted, so we were just adding
And they were-
that as a bullet.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, if you're good with it, personally, I would not use bullets. I like to have numbers or letters, because if you're doing disciplinary charges, you like to say you violated paragraph 3C, 3D, instead of
2A.
bullet point 9 or something,
Okay. And then it says recording any other town employee or official, and that seems like out of context. any other, like we talked about something before?
Well, because
that?
it's you in the first place as an employer official recording the other, meaning
Okay.
it's the person doing it. This obviously doesn't apply to the public or a resident coming in, they can record you. It's not a policy other than as to town employees and officials.
Brian, just a question which is now subsidiary to this, as it just came to my mind.
Sure.
If someone were to make a recording, and of course it were to be consented to by all parties participating in the recording, would the recording and its contents be subject to FOIL?
Yes, it would be.
Okay.
Presuming there's not an exemption that applies,
Right.
but it's presumed to be available under FOIL until we determine if they're talking about a medical situation or something,
Got it.
that information wouldn't be disclosed.
That's only if there's consent to both parties, correct?
I'm sorry?
That's only
That's if the
consent.
recording's made on consent,
If
yeah.
it's not made on consent, it's not applicable.
Then it's still a violation, but I can't say that it's not subject to FOIL because it still becomes a record.
Gotcha.
But odds are, again, depending on the content, if it's an employment matter or something sensitive, it's going to fall under an exemption most likely. But, once it's created, a record's a record. So
Yep.
just because, I don't know of anything that says if somebody illegally creates a record in the town that it's not subject to FOIL.
Just a question just for context. I don't note in the language here any specification that the rule only applies to employees in the course of their work for the town. This would not then apply, to employees outside of working hours, I assume?
Well,
In a hypothetical situation where, let's just say 2 employees from the highway department were to be off hours socializing together and were to record a video, that would not be subject.
no,
to
I don't think
this.
that
It
would, but
not.
I guess I'd be reluctant to say just because you're in working hours, like, if the supervisor calls up the employee and the employee's not working, I wouldn't say that's a license for that employee's calling to now record. It's still, if it's town business or relates to their work, but if it's not related, then I don't think it would apply because they wouldn't be recording, in the supervisory context. If they're like playing golf together and, one decides to record the other, this is not going to capture that because it's not work related. It's
Got
not,
it.
it's not in the role of supervisor or fellow employee with employee. It's just 2 people engaged in recreational activity or something.
Understood.
Very good.
Okay,
Okay.
then I'm good with this.
All right. Next up is privilege before for agenda items. So if you're watching, the first one is privilege before general town items. That means anything regarding the town of Fishkill, you can come in and speak. We're moving quick tonight, and now we're back on the privilege before for the agenda item. So what's on the agenda is the opportunity to speak about.
Right.
Louise?
I would have actually spoke before because I thought you said you were tabling the discussion about amending
Yes.
the rules, but I see that is it tabled?
We're gonna take the provision out of the limit, the time limit. Is there anything else you'd like to see out of there?
Yeah. Well, I had a whole bunch written, so I'll just read it. You have to just bear with me.
Remember, you have a time limit.
No,
No,
I'm
there's
sorry,
no
you haven't
time.
passed it
Well, no,
yet,
it's
so I
currently
think
in
I'll
the
be
rules of
speaking
town
for an
board,
hour
right?
now?
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Currently, there is.
Currently, there is a time limit. We're removing
Time-
that rule.
Jerry said a 1-hour time.
Yeah, okay.
Did it?
It did.
All right, so let's begin. The resolution authorizing, oh no, that's all right, so you got me all mixed up here. Let's see. I wanted to talk about continuing to be transparent and let people speak freely without a free speech timer. As we have had in the past, the prior supervisor and his board had a free speech timer. And as Councilmember Bardini stated, it was 3 minutes, 3 minutes. And Becky literally had to hit her little clock, and at 3 minutes, everybody would be told to stop. On the agenda, there's a discussion of amending rules for the town board. I wanted the board to hear my views before the discussion, but like I said, I was told it was going to be tabled, but it wasn't. I reviewed the changes in the agenda packet. There are some that I feel need to be amended. This item is in the consent agenda. I hope you'll remove it or close it or make sure that changes are made. So what you guys were talking about, Section 5, Order of Business, it's on page 15 in the agenda packet or page 53 of the resolutions. And it's basically, like Mr. Nugent said, it's the old one. So we have been working off of I'm cutting back what I'm saying, so I won't be here for an hour. But the agenda as it is here, there are 18 items, 18. In the agenda packet for what was suggested for order of business, there are 11. So obviously, I'm hoping that you'll put everything that we have in the order that you have it, and we have had it since 2020, since we came on. I think our attorney had changed it then, but maybe the prior attorney, I don't know what he looked at. So, yeah, I think it needs to go back to what we have here, 18 items. Let's see. I'm concerned with the wording of the resolution, and I think you basically just already went over it, so I won't really reread them. But I remember last year at a meeting, citizens spoke for an hour. I think it was privilege of the floor. It wasn't for a public hearing on various topics, and the supervisor praised himself and the board on being transparent and letting people speak. And this seems to be the opposite. And I think it was the rent control meeting, and there were a lot of people here, and that was really good. So Supervisor, I don't know if you remember that one, but everybody had a chance to speak, and yeah, you would look at our town and be like, wow, look at all those people in the audience. They actually all were able to speak, unlike the prior board where you were cut off mid-sentence. So I'm hoping you will not bring back the free speech timer, as Supervisor Lacola had it. When Supervisor Albra and the board came on in 2020, we removed the timer, showing that the people should be able to speak freely and for 2 areas of the meeting, not just one. The general town items were moved to the beginning to encourage citizens to speak and not have to wait all night long at a meeting. So they were given that option, and then the people had the opportunity to speak about agenda items after the board had their discussions. If you set a timer, there will be no more bragging about the most transparent, open local government, but instead making these changes in order to not hinder business, as it says in section 5 of the resolution. I have a different suggestion. There's a formality or discipline that needs to be enforced instead of changing the rules. I'm referring to the supervisor and the board members, quote, responding to comments from citizens at the dais. Every citizen should be reminded that they are to address the entire board, not one council member directly. And if they do so, the supervisor should take control of the meeting and make sure that person does not address one specific council member. If a citizen asks a question, the board should all agree that they want to answer the question by majority, or rather take notes and comment on something you hear during your supervisory remarks, for example. As the supervisor has done in the past, taken notes, and then at the next meeting, he's come back and rebutted whatever he wanted to say from that person, or better yet, just say thank you to whatever the citizen states. If a matter is a topic that needs to be further discussed, it can be brought up by a board member under old or new business for discussion for the next meeting. But when a board member or the supervisor engages and banters back and forth, and then another board member adds long dissertations about their views, you enable the citizen. Instead of just letting him speak, you create a 45-minute debate, which I think happened last meeting. So I would suggest not changing the rules, just to tighten up the ship, because sometimes no response is the best response. Not always, but sometimes with certain people. So I'm not really sure if you can later just review what you said what changes you were gonna make to that. For other items on the agenda, I see there's a resolution authorizing a settlement. I believe the lawsuit was from a police shooting in 2023. My question is, was there ever an internal review done? Back in 2023, I asked that question as a board member and was told the state police were investigating the case. After a critical incident such as a shooting, our PD should review what happened to learn from the incident, to see if anything could have been done differently. If there needs to be more training in certain areas or procedural reviews, that would ensure that certain things don't happen again, not only to protect our police officers, but our town from liability and civilians who are caught in the middle. To my knowledge, that was never done, and I feel like it should have been done. And regarding the changing of the handbook prohibiting recording employees and officials, I'm just wondering if you plan to post signs inside the town hallway of Town Hall, because there are cameras there, so you never know who's walking past, who's doing whatever. So even just if it's a simple sign that says cameras recording, so people know that they're in the building, because there might be employees or I don't know, it's up to you. But I just thought it's better to advise than not advise and have somebody complain later on that they didn't know they were being recorded. And as everybody else already said, Thank you to Carmine and to all of the employees in the highway, buildings and grounds for all their hard work that they did through that snowstorm. And then after the snowstorm, all of the hard work they did, which I don't really understand why we're clearing the Route 9 sidewalks, but I don't know who should be paying for that. Maybe the state should be because it's a state road. I saw them clearing so many sidewalks and they worked so hard and they cleared them all, but I'm not really sure that that should be part of their responsibility. So I was just wondering if we can bill someone for that. But thank you, and I appreciate their
Ms.
hard work.
Daniela, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are you talking about signs inside saying there are cameras going and you're being recorded? Did I hear you?
Yes.
I think that's a good idea.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, because I believe that I believe that there are cameras when you pay your bills, which there should be, in case something happens to the employees inside there.
I think it's a good idea.
Or
We don't have to
there,
vote on that. You guys want to put
or,
up signs? that
can
say
I
that? I'll
finish?
just
I'm
go with
almost
that.
done, almost done.
Yeah.
Oh, my hour's almost up. Yeah, so, we have,
You were walking away.
well,
Brian.
yeah, you drew me back, Brian. It's your fault. Carmine has a beautiful little sign maker. Won't cost much money. Recording in progress, just to be aware so people know. That's all. It's up to you. Thank you.
Just want to comment on if you do that, I don't know, I assume they're just video, right, not audio, or are they both?
It depends which location.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Really?
it should either say, video recording, or if there is audio at some location, it should say video and audio
Yeah.
Yeah,
recording.
that's good to know.
You guys want that or not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
Carmine
want
has
signs?
the-
We don't have to have a vote
It's
on
got
it. I
the-
can just do them.
yeah, I don't see why
You
we'd
just
need
do
to,
'em at
I
the
don't see why we'd need to
entrance, At
vote.
the entrances.
Okay.
What if I'm under a camera and I'm talking bad about you? I don't want you to hear it.
Yeah, then, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all.
I'm at the point, okay.
Thank you, Greg, very much. Thank you. I
Well
appreciate
done, Brian. Okay, so where was I?
it. Moving on.
Oh, okay, so anybody else want to speak? All right, so Brian, we have to add one more thing to this 18-point agenda. Public hearings, can we put the public hearing before the privilege of the floor for general time items number 7? That's the only thing I don't see here.
You want to add public hearings?
Yeah, so.
And what
so
is
we-
number?
That would be I would like it between numbers, currently numbers 6 and 7. So before privilege of the floor for general town items, put the public hearing in that spot.
Do you have the executive session?
Yeah, it's in here. It's
didn't
number
see
8,
it.
that's number 17.
Yeah,
the-
that's not
It's
on
not
your,
in the-
also not on your existing rules, executive
Yes.
session.
So we
Now,
would-
again, I think I would reword the opening of this, because right now it just says the order of business shall be as follows,
You can
but,
change it any way you want.
yeah, I think it should just read that, first of all, it should include at least these items,
These
on
right
the
here.
agenda, and, because obviously you can add things, like I think you have introduction of new employees tonight. I don't think that's a regular agenda item.
Well, we just park them here. If we don't use them, we just skip it.
Right, okay, so we can, I'll do some wording and propose it for you.
Okay.
Make
Because
it a
it's
little
easier for the
flexible.
town clerk to just, we skip
Yeah.
it.
So, Mr. Nugent, are we going to table this to our next meeting while you
Yes.
make those changes?
Yeah, I would suggest
Okay.
that, and then I'll send it out, and if you guys are good with it, we could put it on at the next meeting to actually have that order on there.
Next meeting, Cooper.
Amend that section of the
Okay.
rules.
Procedurally, as we move to the consent agenda, how do we do that? Do we move to amend the consent agenda
About to
to
do it right
remove
now.
the item, and then after we adopt the consent agenda, then move to table that item? Or can we move to amend the consent agenda and table the item with one vote?
I usually do them separately, so I take that item, move to remove it from the consent agenda, and that you could put together, remove it and table it, and then approve your consent agenda.
Okay.
Okay.
We're up to the consent agenda. I'd like to make a motion to remove number 6 from the consent agenda. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, aye, 5-0. Now we'll make a motion to vote on the consent agenda. Can I
As
have a s-
amended.
As amended, can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, aye.
And now we'll need to table,
It's already tabled.
no, we just removed it.
I think you did.
I removed it and I told them to put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
So, yeah, so.
Yeah, but we still have to
so
vote
the
to
motion
table
was
it.
To base, to remove number 6 from the consent agenda and
Yes.
table it to the 218.
Oh,
But
okay.
that's not what was stated, but,
So we have to state that now.
yeah, what
Restate
was
the motion
stated
then.
was to remove it from consent. That's all that was stated.
Okay, you want to just make the motion again?
I'll make a motion to move it to the next meeting. Can I have a second?
Second.
All right.
All in favor?
Do we vote?
Aye.
Aye. Just say yes. All right, next
We
up.
agree, right?
Yeah.
We gotta do it right.
Are you moving on to resolutions?
Yeah, we're on regular resolutions. We got 2 of them.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Since we have our chief and police commissioner. I'm just curious, the resolution amendment, extend term of agreement for DCCIT beat shared services. And I'm reading this and I think it's great. Familiar with that, aren't you? So it's talking about crisis intervention training program, BEAT. Familiar with that? So do we have like all officers going through, because it says hold 2 24-hour CIT trainings. I just don't know what this is all about as far as, you know, our involvement in this and how many officers. I think it's a great idea. It's all about preempting circumstances requiring an arrest for people who haven't read it, helping those who basically have emotional issues, other kinds of issues, to get to some sort of services. So I'm just curious how many officers might be involved or in this program.
Off the top of my head, that is to share services with other agencies.
Gee,
Understand.
They can't hear you.
Can you
at
come up
home.
here? I understand that there, you know, basically all towns throughout, city and towns throughout Dutchess. I'm just curious about our involvement and how.
I don't have that off the top of my head, but I can definitely look it up for you.
Okay, that's good.
Anything else, Brian? All right. First resolution, authorize the settlement, Wade versus the town in litigation, ID 10414. Now therefore resolves, all whereas paragraphs incorporated herein are set forth in full. The town board hereby authorizes the town's insurance company to approve the settlement of proposed amount of $225,000 in a litigation against Town and Wade versus Town of Fishkill, Southern District of New York, docket 7.23/CV-01623, and the town supervisor authorized to execute any documents. The resolution shall be effective immediately. Present as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next up, as a resolution to grant the request from the Roundabout Rural Cemetery for funding and the assistance of $1,500. And we do this, I think it's the third time we're doing this, Greg?
I
Third or
believe
fourth
so.
time?
Third or fourth.
And with the 250th, need a little help cleaning up the town, and this rural cemetery is one of our historical ones, with I think, what, 13, 14 Revolutionary War soldiers buried in there?
Yeah.
And about 4 from the War of 1812. That's up there by the Chief Nimam statue.
Not to mention the monument for Lafayette, who stayed in the Brinkerhoff Inn adjoining to the
Yeah.
property.
So this property is also in our town passport that you're going to get when the snow goes away.
Yeah.
Resolution to grant request from Roundabout Rural Cemetery, ID 104-105. Now therefore it resolves the town board as follows. All whereas paragraphs and incorporated wherein references set forth in full. The town board, the town board hereby determines the request of the Roundabout Rural Association for the amount of $1,500 to be appropriated. And they further authorize the town controller and the town supervisor to prepare and execute any agreements, documents needed to provide this. The resolution shall be effective immediately. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have no items for special consideration, new or old business. Brian, anything new or old?
Not at this time.
Don? No. Greg?
No.
Jackie?
Nothing.
Okay, next town board meeting is February 18th. We'll be going into an executive session. Let's see what he gave me here. To discuss any employment history of a particular persons or matters leading to an appointment, employment, or removal of a particular person. That's our next executive session, and that's the reason. We will not be voting on anything when we get out, so that'll effectively end the meeting. I'll present the motion to leave the regular course of business and go into executive session. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for coming and watching. We'll see you on the 18th. Good night. Take notes.